You may have heard of ChatGPT, the language model developed by OpenAI that's been taking the internet by storm. Well, today we're going to use ChatGPT to create a game in 2 days. First, let's talk about the rules of this challenge. The code for our game must be generated entirely by ChatGPT, with one exception. We're allowed to tweak small values in the code. This means that we're essentially letting the AI create the game for us. Now, onto the engine we'll be using. Godot is a free open source game engine that's gaining popularity among indie game developers. It's known for its ease of use, flexibility, and powerful tools, making it a great choice for our project. Of course, we won't be able to just sit back and let the AI do all the work. We'll need to use our own programming skills to tweak the code generated by ChatGPT and make sure the game is balanced and fun to play. Now we know the rules, let's use ChatGPT to generate the game idea. Objective: the player controls a basket at the bottom of the screen and must catch falling fruits to score points. The game gets progressively harder as the fruits fall faster and more variants of the fruit are introduced. With the game idea in mind, we can start thinking about the design and the mechanics of the game. Our first step is to create the basic game environment, including the game window, controls, and physics. Once we have the basic framework in place, we can start adding the game elements, such as falling fruits, the basket, and the scoring system. What I really appreciate about ChatGPT is that it provides clear explanations of the code it generates. However, I did encounter an issue using the Godot 4 engine, which uses a character-bodied 2D node instead of a kinematic-bodied 2D node. To ensure the code ChatGPT provided us works correctly, I plan to test it on my phone, since my computer does not have an accelerometer. Getting an Android export to work with Godot 4 was a daunting task. The export process frequently failed, and even when it did succeed, the game would often encounter issues on Android devices. Eventually, after struggling through these challenges, I managed to get it working, but not without sacrificing some of my sanity along the way. As I was testing the game, I realised that the accelerometer was not providing reliable results. To address this issue, I consulted with ChatGPT and decided to switch to a gyroscope instead. This change greatly improved the player's accuracy in collecting fruit and enhanced the overall gameplay experience. To create the falling fruit mechanic, ChatGPT wrote a script to instance a fruit node every second, with the frequency increasing during gameplay to ramp up the difficulty. The fruit node contains a rigid body component with no collision. Upon instantation, its X position is randomly offset up to 620 pixels. I also added an Area 2D node and requested that ChatGPT create a function that would trigger when the fruit is collected. Upon collection, the player will be rewarded with points and it will also despawn the fruit. To enhance the gameplay experience, I asked ChatGPT to increase the rarity of the higher ranking fallen fruit, making them more challenging to collect and adding an additional level of excitement to the game. To enhance the game's visuals, I incorporated 4 different backgrounds that are randomly selected when the game starts. However, I noticed it was hard to distinguish the basket and the fruit from the background, so ChatGPT created an outline shader. This solution proved to be very effective as it allowed me to adjust the width of the outline without having to modify any code. To make the game more challenging, I introduced power-ups in the form of mushrooms. These mushrooms have a 10% chance of spawning and can either increase the size of the basket or decrease the speed at which the fruit falls. To add the element of challenge, I included obstacles in the form of squirrels falling out trees. If the player touches these, the camera will shake to indicate to the player not to collect them. If too many of these obstacles are collected, the game will end. After that, my next task was to design the main menu for the game. Fortunately, creating the UI elements was a breeze since minimal code was necessary. The menu only included a few basic settings such as tilt sensitivity, VSync, sound, and reset. To ensure that the user's preferences were saved, I opted to store the settings in a file. Since ChatGPT was outdated, I had to manually modify a few things to enable this feature to work, as it didn't support Godot's latest save and load method. Following that, I incorporated music into both the main menu and the game itself. To keep things interesting, I implemented a feature where 7 distinct tracks were played in a random order. Additionally, I utilised SFXR to generate some fun sound effects for when the player collects fruit. Furthermore, I programmed the game to slow down the background music whenever the player picks up the slow down mushroom. While testing the game on my phone, I encountered an issue where the background music wasn't playing. After some investigation, I discovered that the cause of the problem was that the tracks had been renamed to .import instead of being exported as WAV files. This setback took me a considerable amount of time to troubleshoot and resolve. I have updated the main menu to include a user-friendly guide for playing the game. Depending on the device being used, the main controls will vary. For instance, if the game is being played on a phone, the controls will be tilt-based, whereas on a PC, arrow keys will be displayed instead. To conclude the game, I added a death screen that displays your new high score if you've achieved it. If not, it shows your current score and the score you need to beat. I also fixed a few bugs here and there. Although I would have loved to create this game for a game jam, I didn't because I believe using ChatGPT would be considered cheating. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing to my channel.